Do if you're challenged. And today I get challenged on another one. So let's go over what you can do and what you have to do and how to avoid being challenged and how to respond to a challenge. First of all, you're not going to get any email that says your music's been challenged. The only way you can find out, and especially if you have a lot of videos up with music on them, is to check your video manager every single day. It's a pain, but it's the only way you're going to know if you've been challenged. Likewise, if you dispute a challenge and you win, you're not going to be notified. You just, again, have to check your video manager every day, especially if you've got a bunch of videos up, to see if the challenge has dropped off. I have been challenged over 20 times. 2 were actually my fault. I used, when I first started doing videos, I had used some opening tracks to TV shows, old ones, but still. I was challenged on those and I did change them. But in all of the cases, I've won. Now, how can you avoid getting into trouble? Do not use anything post-1923. Now, immediately, and I am sure all of you are going to say, well, I've seen lots of stuff on YouTube that is after that date, and lots of music videos, and lots of videos just themselves from TV shows or movies. Well, yeah, that's true. There's a lot of them there. But they're still taking a risk. And if you post anything that is definitely using anything from 1924 on, you're taking a risk. Just because the others are still up there means, well, it's simply the luck of the draw. They may go forever and not be caught. And you could post a video one day and be challenged on it the next. That's just the way it is. People, there's nothing really you can do about that, actually. How can you avoid being challenged? Use royalty-free music. I use a lot of stuff from a person named Incompetech who does absolutely wonderful materials. His stuff is royalty-free. He asks for donations, but that's totally understandable. There are places that do have a lot of royalty-free music you can use. And that doesn't mean you won't be challenged. On all 20 challenges or so, except the 2 that were my fault, I was using royalty-free music. And so I immediately disputed every single challenge, and I won every single challenge. Now, you're not going to get an apology from YouTube. You're not going to get an apology from the people that were claiming the music was theirs. That, again, is just the way it goes. Parodies seem to be okay, but you can't always be positive. So if you do a parody of an established song, you probably won't get challenged, but it doesn't mean somebody won't sometime or other. Now, who's going to do the challenges? Well, there are legitimate companies that, if you use their material without their permission, they're going to challenge you. And that is totally within their rights. Let's say you use music from a well-known movie. Well, if somebody happens to check and find out that you've done that, you will get challenged, very probably. And that's, your fault. And so just own up to it and put some other kind of music up there. On the other hand, there are a lot of organizations that are, I can't really put a particular word to it, but they're liars, basically. They will challenge you, they will claim the music is theirs. And most of the cases, it isn't. They are claiming stuff to try to get the right to put ads on your video. But it isn't their music. They're lying. And you will win on those cases when you dispute those in particular. You will win because they have no ground to stand on. There are one or two that steal royalty-free music and claim it as theirs. Again, challenge them. You will win. Now, there's an argument that people use, and it's a very understandable argument. And they say, well, but it's free advertising for the company. Well, that's not a good argument. The company doesn't care about individual people. Their bottom line is the only thing they care about, and that is money. And if you use something from their company, they will claim it is violates their copyright, it violates their intellectual property. That's a really term used a lot. And again, they will have the right to challenge you. And so you're going to have to change something in that case. So there are legitimate companies with legitimate needs, but there's a lot of what I would call two-bit companies that lie and that will steal music from somebody else and claim it's theirs. What to do if you are challenged and you look at your video manager one day and it says you've been challenged on such and such music, it belongs to them and blah blah, and it belongs to such a company. Well, one of the fun things to do is check on Google if that company is legitimate or not. And on a lot of cases you're going to find out they're not. I checked on one of them this morning and it's like, no, they don't really own it. Make sure, then second step, make sure your video, your music does not violate the copyright. Because don't go disputing something unless you can back yourself up. Because you're going to lose in that case. In your video, make sure in the credits you have where you got the music from, if it's royalty-free music. Now that doesn't mean that the company that challenges you is going to look at that, but at least you've got yourself backed up a little bit. Let's see. You can get really mad. Well, that doesn't help. Because again, it's basically black and white. You either used copyright material and got challenged legitimately, or you used royalty-free material and got challenged illegitimately. In one case, you used copyrighted material, you have to make the changes. Take the video down, or replace it with music. YouTube has some alternate music you can use, or you can just take the whole thing down, keep it down, take the whole thing down, put new music on it. It's up to you, but you're going to have to change. In the case of an illegitimate challenge, don't change it. Challenge it. Let's see what else here. Now, there is nothing practical you can do as an individual to get the companies that are challenging you and that are not legitimate to stop. You can make comments, but they're not going to bother paying attention to them. YouTube's not going to pay attention to them. The company's not going to pay any attention to them. I've done that in all of the disputes that I've filed. I've had some kind of commentary, and I have never, ever heard a single word back from anybody on my commentary. You can write letters to YouTube and ask them to change their policy. And one thing I would really like to see is that companies that are shown not to be filing legitimate claims, and especially those companies that do that often, to me, I feel they are committing libel, because they are challenging your good name, and they are claiming you are a thief. Well, if you use royalty-free music, you're not a thief, especially if you have permission to use it. I would like to see Yahoo start keeping a record of these companies, and the ones that do so illegitimately should be forced to pay a premium for what they do. I feel any company that keeps on doing this kind of thing, that does not actually own the music and knows they don't own the music, they should be forced to pay a very hefty fine in the neighborhood of at least $1,000 or more. But realistically, that's not going to happen. It's an example of what the golden rule has become in this world. He who has the gold makes the rules. So, bottom line, if you're challenged and you did not violate copyright, and you know you did not, dispute the challenge. Keep checking the video manager to see if you've won. You probably will. But beyond that, there isn't much you can do. That's the way it is. It's not nice, but that's the way it is. So, keep aware of the status of your account. Make sure you can back yourself up if you use royalty-free material. Who did you use it from? And make sure that that is put into your video. And otherwise, just keep on checking and keep on challenging. That's it.